So this is a case study of King Charles and his accession to the throne. Very powerful and important moment, and definitely worthy of an astrological case study. Make sure to watch to the end of the video where I make a prediction about the reign of King Charles. The reason it's great to analyze these things astrologically is because they're such concentrated moments, we have such accurate birth times, and these are like once in a lifetime generational shifts. With that much specific data and detail, we can really learn a lot about what's happening astrologically. So you can see in this chart, I have several boxes that are color-coded. One is a chart of Prince Charles, the other is the moment of accession, which was Saturday, September the 10th in London, England at about 10:28 a.m. I'm going to start with an analysis of King Charles's birth chart and particularly his astrological dashas or timing cycles. First, we can see that King Charles was born on an eclipse, at least the day before, a lunar eclipse in Aries. We can see that he has a Cancer ascendant, and the sun is in Libra in its debilitated sign. It's with Mercury and the south node Ketu. Opposite that is the moon Rahu in Aries, and it was the day before a lunar eclipse. I've done videos on how royalty and popes are often born on eclipses or near eclipses. I'm going to do a full video about that soon. But Charles is a perfect example where he was born the day before a lunar eclipse in Aries. This is also important because he's ruled by the moon, and his moon is in the 10th house with Rahu. The 10th house has to do with the public. Charles also has a debilitated sun, and the debilitated sun is aspected by Saturn. This shows delays, and it shows that he's going to be a humble king, and he's a humble king who had to wait for quite a while to ascend to the throne. When we analyze his dashas or his planetary cycles, it becomes very clear why this was the time for him to become king. He was in Jupiter, Venus, Saturn dasha. It just started August 15th, 2022. So Jupiter is the 9th house ruler in his chart, which has to do with coronations and honors, and it rules his sun in the 4th house. Of course, it's a debilitated sun, but Jupiter is the ruler because it rules Vishaka Nakshatra. The secondary dasha planet Venus also rules the sun because the sun is in Libra. Saturn is ruling his ascendant through the nakshatra of Pushya. So you can see with all of these rulerships, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, why this karma really ripened now. Both Jupiter and Venus rule his sun, and of course the sun is the king. It's a debilitated sun. Oh my God, debilitated sun, and he's still king. Yeah, he's king. The sun is giving its result based on other factors, and it was a delayed result because of Saturn's aspect, but Jupiter, Venus, Saturn brought forth the karma because Saturn rules his ascendant in Pushya as well. So these are standard rules of dasha karma activation that I've been teaching for 15 years. When we take the transit chart at the moment of accession and we compare it to the chart of King Charles, we can also see enormous karma coming to ripen at this time. So again, first it has to operate within the dashas of the person. So it's King Charles' chart that allows for these transits to impact him this way, but we'll see the transits very clearly. So this is where we can compare the different colored boxes. First, we see Jupiter in that dark blue box in the transit chart is aspecting his ascendant Cancer almost to the exact degree. Jupiter in the sky in Pisces is 1139 and his ascendant is 1216 of Cancer. That's an exact Jupiter trine to the ascendant. This means that overall right now he's been put in a position of elevated, possibility of coronations and honors. We also see that Rahu in the sky is going over his natal moon, Rahu, so he's having a return of the lunar nodes. Rahu is going over his natal Rahu and Ketu going over his natal Ketu. This is very significant. You see all this energy concentrating around his 4th house where he has that Ketu Mercury sun. This includes Saturn's aspect in the sky from Capricorn, but most importantly, we see Ketu in the sky going over his natal sun. And the moment of the accession, the ascendant in London, England, hit that 4th house and that sign of Libra. In addition, most significantly, we see that Venus in the sky is transiting over his natal Saturn to the exact degree. Of course, this is important because he was in Jupiter, Venus, Saturn when the karma ripened. Venus in the sky is going over that natal Saturn to the exact degree when this accession happened, and of course when his mom passed. We see enormous specificity in this transit chart because not only does Charles's chart show that he will gain the height of power through his mother because he's got Ketu, Sun, Mercury in the 4th house of the mother, so the death of his mother means his highest elevation. This is shown by a lunar eclipse, which the moon is the archetype of mother. It's also his ascendant, but it's also shown by that king, that sun, being debilitated with Ketu, showing that his power even comes through a difficult, debilitating moment. This is further reinforced by that Saturn aspect onto his sun. This shows how his elevation to king comes through the death of his mother. Also, that Saturn retrograde in his 7th house of other people is, of course, aspecting the 4th house, as I said earlier. And in some ways, maybe most significantly, it happened on a full moon in Aquarius, almost to the exact degree, in his 2nd and 8th houses. The 2nd and 8th house has to do with family, legacy, and of course, death. So what do I think the reign of King Charles will be like? Well, I think he's going to embody the humble king, the humble leader who waited a long time to get to the throne. He has this debilitated son, but of course, he's a king. And Ketu makes him the king through his lineage, also through the sadness and the death of his mother, of course, being in the 4th house. And Saturn is aspecting that 4th house where Sun, Ketu, and Mercury reside. As this humble king, I think Charles is going to do a lot to humanize the monarchy as well. His mother did quite a bit as well to connect it with the common people. I think Charles is going to do even more in this regard. I think you will see a returning, let's say, of jewels or other kinds of things. I have a feeling that he's going to try his best to make amends for the colonization and all of these other things. Charles has been quite progressive in his whole life, very interested in things like the environment and global warming and conservation. He's been quite progressive in other ways too, known to hobnob with, the Dalai Lama and other kinds of things. He's lived a very international life. I mean, he came of age in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and so he's very much an older man of this era, but someone who has lived quite a progressive life. So I think modernizing the monarchy even more. This also includes a change, I think, in all of the different territories. I think you may very well see a lot of countries where he's the figurehead will leave the Commonwealth, so to speak. And I think he's going to bring the kingdom into and the monarchy into an even more modern stance, but I think he will be a king of this time with, again, embodying the grace and humility that will comport the monarchy into the future. And frankly, I think he's already shown quite a bit of this. And for me personally, it's been great to watch him comport himself in public, expressing both the feelings that he has for the passing of his mother and the awesome responsibilities and duties before him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. So this is why we analyze charts this way, because we have a very powerful birth chart, a once-in-a-lifetime event where a prince becomes a king, especially after 70 years, and it happens at the moment that another sovereign dies. This whole moment of sadness and glory, such a powerful moment, and of course everything in the charts are going to point back to those things. For a limited time, I'm offering 10 hours of masterclasses, Yoga and Vedic Astrology, Quantum Vedic Astrology, and Spiritual Astrology Masterclass. These are 3 great courses that will really help you a lot. Now, in case you don't know who I am, I taught the AstroVed certification course, Dattatreya Shiva Baba, in 2010. Ravi Shankar published my book in 2018. I've been around for decades. I've been teaching these great classes, and if you go to VedicAstrologyEssentials.com, you can get this 90% off discount of these 3 great classes, more than 10 hours guaranteed value. You can check this out. These 3 classes will give you all the necessary tools to begin to learn Vedic astrology. Please find me on YouTube at Sam Jeppy, Vedic Astrology Teacher. On there since 2007, thousands of hours of classes. Also on Facebook at Astrology Teacher, tons of articles updated regularly. And I'm on Instagram at Vedic Astrology 108, ongoing updates and interaction.